Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and you're gonna hear some Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood in the background here because Guppy's set up right next to me with her little tablet. She's learning about the world. And speaking of, welcome to a match in the Bf109e1. This aircraft is early on in the German aircraft tree, and it really is a great trainer for practicing and learning your boom and zoom and your energy fighting skills. This particular aircraft is very good at energy fighting, and it's sort of at an interesting transition between where you see turn fighters all the time with biplanes and early monoplanes, and then the beginnings of the American boom and zoom powerhouse and other things to come. So at 2 minutes into the match already, there was our first engagement between a Ju-87 and a SBD-3, which is pretty wild. These maps are a lot tighter on low rank than they are in higher rank battles, and that makes things a little bit more difficult when you're trying to spade your early energy fighters. And here we have our first pass on the F2A, the Buffalo, and he avoided us in that first pass, and now he's trying to lure us down into a turning fight. Guppy is trying to get us to give her some apple. No, not that. Okay, no, not that. Eventually, we get the pilot snipe on the F2A. His mistake, if he did make one, was one, he has some pretty decent firepower. He could have taken a few shots at me in that first head-on, and he chose not to. Not a terrible decision. But mainly, he did a very predictable circular turn underneath me instead of rolling and performing some less easy to predict maneuvers. And I was able to figure out where in that circle I needed to draw my line of fire, and I got a good pilot snipe out of it. So he wasn't using a bad strategy, but he'll probably want to adjust that to where he's being a little bit more nimbly bimbly and hard to predict with his turning maneuvers. But not a bad idea. If somebody's coming down on you with more energy, you might want to wiggle around underneath them, make things difficult for them, and if they're not paying attention, it also gives them the chance to crash into the ground. The E1 does start to lock up in the higher 300 mile per hour range, and now we got an easy pass on this F3F, and we did get some hits there. As you can see, he's now smoking, but we didn't manage to clinch the victory, although he gets finished off by a Heinkel 112 coming in from behind, giving us the kill assist, which is too bad. I was really looking forward to finishing that guy off. He probably had a red pilot just from the way that it seemed he was flying, and I know how frustrating that is. It's the worst. That really needs to go back. The amount that they've made pilot damage affect aircraft performance is just, it's not fun. And first and foremost, this game needs to be fun. Now, on to the reason I'm sharing this particular video with you. As you can see, I'm wearing a custom camouflage made by Toshio 1987 on Live.War Thunder. And if that name sounds familiar as we come in for this SBD-3, he really didn't stand a chance. Good for him on trying to get the rear gunner on target, but that wasn't going to work out for him. And now we get jumped as we're going in for our third kill, but we're going to go for it anyway. So we're just ignoring that enemy that's behind us. We can hear him. So check out my Live.War Thunder if you want Weeb anime skins, and I definitely take skin requests. I actually, someone commented on one of my other skins, and I was like, hey, you have good taste, give me a skin request. And he was like, really? Yeah, so you wanted one for the Bf109e1? And I made this camouflage for him. Camouflage, if you can call it that. Custom skin. So in the rolling scissors, we managed to get behind the P400. Now just an easy loop on his tail. As he goes down, he's going to try and get us to turn into the ground here, but we performed a nice loop here, and now we're back into the rolling scissors. As he gets behind us now, we're going to cut our scissors even more broad, which will make him pass in front of us. Now we're going to need some flaps to turn quickly around, It's a turn fight at this point, and I have a low enough speed I can actually outturn him at this speed. Here we are onto him. We get some hits. We set the fire. That's going to be the end for him for 4 kills. Guppy, there's no more orange. You want some apple? So I've been having a good time making a custom camouflage. I thought about doing this one live, but then I saw like this is some Vocaloid skin. It's a what's her name, Megurine or something like that, Margarine. But the pictures for these anime girls start to get a little bit boobsy at some point. So I'd rather not live stream making one of those kinds of camos, but we took a little bit of damage here, and we were actually able to sustain a few hits, which is rather rare for these early 109s because they are a rather light airframe, and they have no armor modeled in the game. But you got a fuel tank behind the pilot that can soak a few machine gun rounds, and sometimes that's all you need. But as I mentioned before, that pilot thing, well, it can be a bit aggravating. Let's put it that way. I'm looking forward to that getting removed from the game. It was introduced right around the time Gaijin tried to introduce the notorious premium modules into the game. Thank goodness that was shot down. But I'd like to see the pilot crippling effect be rolled back as well. The game was a lot more fun when you could turn just fine with a heavily damaged pilot. After all, who wants to be crippled so much in your performance when you're in that tight moment? Especially in aircraft, you want to get everything you can out of this. I did mention that the E1 is a bit of a bear to spade at first, but it is a low rank vehicle, so it's not too bad. And when we deploy the flaps, the camo doesn't look quite so janked, but well, anytime you put images over the flaps, it's kind of, it offsets them a little bit. It's part of the 3D modeling, and I just can't be bothered to set that up properly. And now you see the tank baby is very ready for a baba, so I'm gonna call it quits here with the video. It was a fun match, and I was demonstrating. I did a high spiral in that first engagement. That's a great way to get someone to stall out below you if they have less energy, and especially less energy retention. Very good technique to use against the F2A if he's again in a lower energy state and you have some distance. And then you saw some rolling scissors. You saw some good energy fighting maneuvers in this one. And as I mentioned, Bf109, the perfect place to practice and learn your energy fighting technique. You do face some very tough opponents in the 2.3 area. Even you can face 3.0, which can be something of a challenge as well. But this aircraft, with its good climb rate, especially once you've spaded it, and its quality energy retention, is always going to be able to perform for someone that plays it appropriately. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Have a great time. And yes, I am still working on some projects. I'm in a little bit of a creative fugue right now, so forgive me if it takes a little while. But I'm very much looking forward to those things getting out. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.